Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We are honored to have you with us for this special occasion, the public launch of the Atlantic Council Romania office. This marks not only the opening of a new office, but the beginning of a deeper commitment to Romania and the region at a pivotal time. To open today's event and discussion, bolstering the transatlantic partnership at an inflection point, we are privileged to hear from three distinguished leaders who have each played a vital role in advancing the transatlantic partnership. I will be inviting Mr. Frederick Kemp, President and CEO of the Atlantic Council, Mr. Michael Dickerson, Chargé d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy, and the President of the Senate of Romania, Mr. Mircea Brudean. First, a few words about where we are. This beautiful Bucharest historical landmark, Villa Ciru Iliescu, is a remarkable place that reflects the city's layered cultural identity. The villa was once associated with a Lovendal family of Danish origin, whose members played a prominent role in Romania cultural and diplomatic life in the 20th century. The villa is attributed to the renowned Romanian architect Petre Antonescu, a defining figure of the early 20th century, celebrated for his contribution to the neo-Romanian style. His architectural approach balanced form and ornamentation, drawing from Byzantine, Brâncovenesque, and traditional vernacular motifs. The villa stands as a testament to Antonescu's ability to bridge East and West, embodying the spirit of interwar Bucharest as a center of cultural synthesis. Today, this multicultural villa begins a new chapter as the home of the Atlantic Council in Romania, as the headquarters of an organization that is dedicated to strengthen democratic alliances and fostering strategic dialogue. Villa Ciru Iliescu symbolizes continuity between past and future, heritage and diplomacy, local identity and global purpose. It is now my pleasure to welcome Mr. Fred Kemp to the stage. Fred?
Good afternoon to all of you joining us here in Bucharest, and greetings to the global audience joining us virtually. I've been introduced, so I don't need to say again who I am, but I will anyway for the camera. Fred Kemp, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Atlantic Council. And I'm just delighted to officially welcome you today as we celebrate the launch of our Romania office. Or as I like to call it, Atlantic Council Romania. Incredible vision, hard work, and very special partnerships have built up to this moment. This new office is a flag for freedom, for democracy, for entrepreneurship, for transatlantic partnership, and for a future where Romania plays a significant role regionally, in Europe, across the Atlantic and globally. We are fortunate to plant our flag in this historic building. Built in 1910 by the renowned architect Petre Antonescu. It's long been a place where international dialogue met Romanian history. And I look forward to writing the next chapter of Romanian and broader regional history together with all of you as partners. The Atlantic Council only travels in partnership with the people in the Alliance. We're really a stakeholder organization. We're not an American organization coming to Romania. We're a stakeholder organization where you're all stakeholders in what we'll try to achieve. I see many longtime friends of the Atlantic Council and some new faces who may be less familiar with our work, so friendships in the making. So allow me briefly to explain who we are and why we're opening an office here. We are made up of 16 programs and centers, working on issues from Africa, Latin America, and Europe to energy, technology, security, and the global economy. This office will have access to all of that expertise. It won't be a silo. It will be a platform. Just in the last month, we staged the 9th Annual Atlantic Council Global Energy Forum in Washington, which, by the way, had its first meeting here as the Black Sea Energy Forum many years ago. And we staged it with 1,500 individuals from 97 countries. We sent delegations thereafter to the Middle East, a congressional delegation, which we sent and kept safe, and they're home, despite the fact that bombs were falling on Iran and on Israel. We sent one to Korea on nuclear energy issues, and we sent one to The Hague for the NATO summit, where members committed to increasing their commitment to defense spending, and the U.S. renewed its longstanding commitment to European security. I flew here directly from the Hague Summit to launch what will be a regional office, not just for Romania, but for the Black Sea region. And you can see by the building we're in that we're ambitious about what we want to achieve. We are living through challenging times, perhaps the greatest period of geopolitical threats in my lifetime. Putin's ongoing, unprovoked, and illegal war in Ukraine, continued conflict in the Middle East, tensions over China's global ambitions, and a worldwide competition for the commanding heights of technological change. It is also a time of unique opportunity, a historic inflection point, in my view, as important as the periods after World War I, after World War II, and after the Cold War. I consider this the fourth great inflection point of that time, hopefully after a successful end to the war in Ukraine that will leave Ukraine independent, secure, and democratic. The Atlantic Council exists to galvanize constructive American leadership alongside partners and allies. And that's why we are here. Not just national partners and allies, but corporate partners and allies, individual partners and allies. These historically challenging times also bring an unprecedented opportunity for a positive agenda on cooperation between the United States, Romania, and the broader region. We simply can't miss the chance to forge the next year of prosperity, competitiveness, and security. And we know through our domestic politics, whether it's in Romania, whether it's in the United States, or whether it's among all of our allies, that we also have to convince our electorates that international engagement and working together is in their interests. To deliver on this vision, I'm pleased to share that the office will be led by Alex Sherban, a truly remarkable individual who I have known and worked alongside for nearly 20 years. So please give Alex a big round of applause. The office will be housed within the Atlantic Council's Global Energy Center, which is run by Landon Durrance, an Atlantic Council VP, who leads energy and infrastructure work across all 16 of our programs and centers. We also have our Chief Operating Officer here, Julie Varghese, who ensures that we do everything according not just to the Atlantic Council's highest standards of ethics and law, but to Romania's highest standards of ethics and law. We made sure this morning that we signed the association agreement and notarized it so that we're here in full legal fashion this afternoon. The other also here is the Europe Center led by Senior Director Joran Flack. The Europe Center will work very closely together with Alex. Defna Arslan, who leads our Atlantic Council in Turkey program, our Atlantic Council Turkey program, and has done so successfully for many years, also having hosted some of our Global Energy Forum. And then our Weiser Family Distinguished Fellow, Ambassador Dan Fried, one of the finest diplomats of his generation, or really of any generation. If you could all rise so that we can give you a round of applause as well. There are 4 key priority areas the Council has identified as vital issues for the region and for transatlantic cooperation, which will be addressed by the office. This is a starting place. As we work with you, we'll find new areas. I had a very interesting conversation at noontime today with a potential partner from Moldova. I'm sure we'll do work on the future of Moldova, on energy in Moldova, on security issues, and the European integration of Moldova as well. But here are the 4 key priority areas. First, energy and infrastructure. Deepening transatlantic energy cooperation by enhancing regional interconnectivity, securing critical infrastructure, and advancing innovation to reduce costs and drive growth. Second, technological cooperation. And that's also going to be in alignment with energy, as the spread of artificial intelligence is going to escalate the demand for data centers and energy to serve them. So second, technological cooperation, including artificial intelligence related to energy and infrastructure, and then far beyond. Third, democratic resilience and Euro-Atlantic integration, strengthening transatlantic cooperation on democratic resilience by advancing rule of law, digital transformation, and economic competitiveness. And finally, regional, European, and transatlantic security. We want to bolster Black Sea security through strengthened NATO coordination, rotational deterrence, and defense posture, and sustained support for Ukraine, Moldova, and regional partners. Of course, none of this would be possible without the support of our partners. Let me first salute the first mover, the person who saw the vision for this office, Théophile Mouachan. And Theo, I wonder if you could stand so we can salute you too. He's the CEO and founder of eInfra, a group of 5 very impressive companies. But what I didn't know was what I experienced this weekend was the hospitality of Cluj, of Transylvania, and of his new resort, Isa Resort, there where we saw a most remarkable horse show. We ate incredible amounts of wonderful food, and we just sampled some fine wines. We just sampled them. And I want to thank you for that generosity. We also saw an air base while we were there as well, and a couple of us went to the salt mine. So, frankly, if we had gone there before opening this office, maybe this would be the Atlantic Council Cluj, I don't know. But it's really such a wonderful place. Additionally, I would like to thank 4 other individuals that are first movers with the Atlantic Council as partners. Radu Peterle of Consolex, and I'm going to say your names, and then when I'm finished with all the names, then if you would also stand. Of Consolex, who hosted a wonderful dinner last week with government and business leaders in the former Palace of Ceausescu, which was a very interesting moment for me, since my first time in Romania was during the Ceausescu period. Catalan Podaru of Leviathan, he's not here today, but this past weekend we visited the Air Force Base in Transylvania that will host Romania's F-16 and F-35s and MQ Reapers, and his company is very much involved in taking the lead in constructing everything that's necessary for that. Soren Preda of Global Vision, who is generously hosting a dinner with entrepreneurs, Romanian family offices, and CEOs this evening. And Cornelia Bodea, who is not yet here with us, from ADREM, who today hosted a lunch with the energy business community and Minister Bogdan Ivan. I don't think Corneliu is here, is he? But if the two of you, Radu and Soren, if you could stand so we can give you a round of applause. As we begin to consider these topics and more, We're honored to have a great lineup of speakers this afternoon to help frame the importance of the U.S.-Romania relationship and Romania's role in the world. Let me just salute one other person who's here, Rector Remus Procopio, an early partner of ours from SNSPA. I want to salute you for all the work we've done, Remus, but I also want to thank you for giving me an honorary doctorate this afternoon, which I'm sending all the information to my wife and daughter because they're not quite sure I was deserving, but thank you so much for that. And if you could rise so we can give you an applause. Now I'm delighted to turn the floor over to the Charge d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, Michael Dickerson, to share his perspective on this pillar in the transatlantic community. I've already told Michael that when U.S. officials come here, we would like to host Trump administration officials, we'd like to host members of Congress, we'd like to host whatever prominent Americans we have coming to the country. Not just by chance, maybe we can even draw some more, and so that we can do what I think is the Atlantic Council at its best, was just be a bridge between countries, between peoples, and between cultures. So Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Fred and Alex. Good afternoon, everyone. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the invitation today, not only to help open the Atlantic Council's new office, but also to talk about the importance of America's bilateral relationship with Romania. For almost 30 years, the United States and Romania have been long-standing strategic partners and allies, to the benefit of both of our countries. The U.S.-Romania strategic partnership has led to great success in defense, security, economic, intelligence, and law enforcement cooperation, as well as in expanding our educational and cultural ties. As Secretary Rubio has stated, the way foreign policy works best is when our national interests are aligned. When they're aligned, that's where we have incredible opportunity for partnership together. As we have over the last 30 years, we will continue to work with the new government here in Romania in areas of alignment to harness the incredible opportunity for partnership that Secretary Rubio spoke of on issues of importance to the American people, to Romania, and the world. From curbing illegal immigration and securing our borders to ensuring fair and equal trade relationships and combating adversarial actors, we will work with Romania to ensure these important foreign policy goals are met. Today's event is timely, coming on the heels of Atlantic Council's Global Energy Forum and its discussions on the importance of global energy security. Energy security is national security and is of vital importance to both the United States and Romania. American expertise in energy technology continues to support energy security in Romania and around the world. I personally look forward to our discussions today on the U.S.-Romania relationship and where the incredible opportunities for partnership are. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It's now my great pleasure to invite to the microphone His Excellency Mr. Mircea Brudean, President of the Senate of Romania. Mr. Brudean.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is a privilege for me to participate in this special event celebrating the launch of the Atlantic Council's office in Romania. This initiative, supported by our American partners, represents much more than a symbolic gesture. It is a concrete step forward in generating meaningful institutional momentum in our region. At a time when the regional stakes are high, it responds directly to some of the most pressing challenges we face today: securing Ukraine's sovereign and independent future and firmly supporting the Republic of Moldova on its European path. But beyond that, it also opens new strategic directions for deepening our bilateral and transatlantic cooperation across a wide range of areas like energy, security, infrastructure, economic resilience, or emerging technologies. I consider that the decision to open a new regional office here in Romania is timely and also deeply rooted in a long-standing commitment to our region. It builds upon the US consistent engagement in Central and Eastern Europe and the Black Sea through landmark conferences, high-level dialogues, and influential policy publications that have shaped the public discourse and strategic priorities. Romania is grateful to host this office, and we are confident it will become a catalyst for even deeper cooperation in the years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, for over 6 decades, the Atlantic Council, the most influential and globally active US think tank, has consistently promoted constructive engagement in regional and international affairs. As a result of the ideas that it generated, the Atlantic Council shaped and supported strategic and political initiatives aimed at creating a freer, safer, and more prosperous societies. Considering these aspects, I would like to highlight the topics and the areas of strategic importance for Romania on which the expertise and analysis of the Atlantic Council are relevant. In politics and diplomacy, the Council's studies and projects offer insightful analysis on freedom and prosperity, political reform, elections and the rule of law, best practices and expert evaluations. Security and defense is another strategically relevant area where the Atlantic Council significantly contributes to its expertise in the use of intelligence and defense technologies to understand the nature of regional and global conflicts and the emergence of populism and extremism. In the current context, marked by digitalization, artificial intelligence, innovation, and structural reforms to improve governance and public service quality, the Atlantic Council provides new insights into resilience, inclusive growth, financial regulation, and the future of work. Distinguished guests, I take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Atlantic Council, His Excellency Mr. Fred Kemp. With him at the helm, the Atlantic Council has expanded its global presence through regional centers, significantly enhancing its influence. In this spirit, I would like also to congratulate Mr. Alex Sherban, who will lead this new regional office. He brings valuable knowledge and strong expertise in public affairs. I am sure that he will manage to shape policies and improve our understanding of today's regional geopolitical challenges, common interests, and the importance of transatlantic cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to reaffirm what I emphasized at the beginning of my intervention. The opening of the Atlantic Council's Romania office is a strategic milestone, an essential step forward that will contribute to the strengthening and advancing our transatlantic partnership. It comes at the right time, and it responds exactly to the needs and challenges of our region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Now, in true Atlantic Council fashion, and I would add Washington, D.C. style, we aim not only to meet the moment, but to move forward. We now turn to a dynamic series of conversations, and we're making every minute count. We are bringing together top decision makers for a fast-moving set of impactful discussions. We have prepared 3 fireside chats and a panel discussion. However, very similar to what happened in Washington last week when a White House security meeting prevented the keynote speaker, the Secretary of Energy, from being present at the right moment, the National Security Council meeting that is taking place as we speak has prevented some of the speakers from being here. So we would like to move to the panel right now. And I'd like to invite, for our expert discussion, moderated by Olga Kakova, Deputy Director of the European Energy Center at the Atlantic Council, Catalina Dodu, she's a partner in cybersecurity at EY Romania, Antonia Colibășanu, Senior Analyst at Geopolitical Futures and Professor at CNSPA, and Ambassador Daniel Fried, Weiser Family Distinguished Fellow at the Atlantic Council. Olga and dear panelists, please join us.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are joining us from. And hello to our excellent in-person audience. It is so wonderful to be back in Bucharest, and I'm thrilled to say that we're doing this event from just launched new Atlantic Council Romania office. So it's a real treasure to be able to bring this panel of experts for a conversation on some of the prevailing issues facing us today. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Ms. Catalina Dodu, who is the partner and cybersecurity leader at EY Romania, Dr. Antonia Colibășanu, who is a senior analyst in geopolitical features and senior fellow for Eurasia Foreign Policy Research Institute, and our own Ambassador Fried, Weiser Family Distinguished Fellow at the Atlantic Council. We have limited time, so we're just going to dive right in. What makes this moment significant, especially for the transatlantic conversation? We'll start over here. Yes.
Well, I think the obvious answer is that we're in a very special moment in global affairs. We are witnessing a destructuring process, which means that we have lots of opportunity to work towards restructuring the global economic and security environment as we need and as we address the challenges that we are currently facing. And in the borderlands, I would say that the Black Sea region has been a geopolitical focal point where East meets the West, North meets the South. And I believe that having the Atlantic Council office now opening is basically opening up for brainstorming sessions on how to make things better and what to improve and how.
Ambassador?
Okay. The international situation is colored by Russian aggression, the war in Ukraine, and Putin's desire to restore the Soviet or the Russian Empire. And no one in Romania needs any American to tell them that. Secondly, by Europe's belated but powerful decision to build up its defensive capacity, We saw that at the NATO summit. That's a very big deal. Third, by the debate within the United States about our role in the world, a debate we're having not for the first time, but we're having it now, and after the NATO summit, the odds that the Trump administration maintains its commitment to an international role in support of the free world has grown. And finally, there is the factor of China, which is watching Europe's resistance to Russian aggression and contemplating its moves toward Taiwan. All of this against a backdrop of what you've referred to, I think rightly, which is rapid economic and technological change. And the world grappling with that, and the transatlantic community grappling with that. That's a lot right now. And Romania is in the middle of this, plus continuing its own transformation over the last generation, which has been enormously successful. What is it, a 400% growth in per capita GDP, something like that? And remains challenging. So the Atlantic Council investment in Romania takes place against a backdrop of all of this, plus and moments of opportunity for us all.
Catalina?
Thank you. Thank you for.
It's on.
It's on. Okay. So thank you for your question and for having me here. So we heard already about the big technological moment we are in and all the impact that we have from changes. Either we are talking about new technologies or AI, or if we talk about different and more complex cybersecurity attacks that we are all facing. Because as we all know, before the real war, there is another one that is starting much earlier and that we see, and there is the place to collaborate. And I think we as Romania, we have an important place in the technology landscape. We have the competencies, we have the skills, and we are used to collaborate and to bring our value. We are used to collaborate with other countries. So having now, in this moment, this center, I think it's a win-win for all the nations involved and for what can we bring at the table as tech people.
Thank you so much. And tech and AI, that was one of the bullet points that Fred had for us when he outlined some of the priority key issues for the office. Could we dive in one layer deeper and see what are some of the specific tangible ways? What is the transatlantic piece of that conversation?
So when we are talking about AI adoption, I think this is an important moment. We need to do it faster, all of us. It's not only about Romania, it's about all of us. And we need to do it in a manner that it's protecting our people and that it's protecting our lives. And this combination is not an easy one to achieve. I think there is the place for us to work, but it's a very short time that we have, because the speed of change is so dramatic that we need to educate faster our people, to train them, to teach them, and to help them to teach them how to protect, because it's what we do as nations, how we protect our nations, but it's also very important how we protect our people. Then we are going to education and how we collaborate in educating our people to protect and to improve their posture and their level.
Thank you so much, Catalina. Ambassador, you had such an optimistic summary for us in your initial remarks, and I love that. I know I can always lean on you to provide a bit of light, a bit of optimism. But you also had your ear to the ground and, have heard questions, remarks, concerns in terms of, what are the transatlantic challenges, and not just in the bilateral relationship with Romania, but a broader regional and a broader U.S.-European conversation. What keeps you up at night, and where do you see the concerns, and how do we overcome those?
What keeps me up at night is contemplating Putin's next aggressive move. All right, that he is reckless, he is aggressive, and he is serious. My optimistic take on that is we have plenty of assets to deal with it and deal with it successfully, if we would use them. Now, you didn't ask me to talk about our options in Ukraine. I could, but that's one thing that keeps me up at night. You referred to tensions in the transatlantic relationship, and it is common, it's a journalistic cliche to say that under Trump there are new, unique challenges to the transatlantic relationship. There's a real problem. And I get that. The journalists aren't making it up. There are issues, and there is a neo-isolationist wing of the administration and of the larger MAGA movement. However, I'm old enough to remember that almost every 10 years, the transatlantic relationship is regularly assumed to be in a deep crisis. We would never survive the 1970s. We would never survive the split in the transatlantic alliance over the Iraq War. You see where I'm headed with this. We are the transatlantic community is more resilient than people give it credit for. And I suppose I'm in an optimistic mood because the NATO summit was a real success, and it vindicates the more constructive end of the Trump administration's strategy. They delivered because Trump was basically right that Europe needed to do more for its own defense, and Europe stood up and did more. And so Trump was able to take the win, and a win in a non-zero-sum world. So we've got a lot under our belt already in a good way. If we can deal with Putin's aggression, and if Europe actually steps up and does what it said it was going to do with the 3.5% plus 1.5% of GDP on defense, we're going to be in much better shape than the Russians in the medium and longer term. And that's pretty optimistic, especially if Ukraine joins our family of nations. You can write a lot of fairly optimistic scenarios amid all the doom and gloom.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Antonio, you have a great appreciation for kind of where some of the industry, some of the population, some of the think tank community, some of the academics, where they're coming from in terms of the transatlantic relationship, how it's being viewed, how the current challenges are viewed. What is a realistic pathway to kind of overcome some of those challenges that were brought up? And what are some specific areas where you think could be a really specific, tangible areas for cooperation? We talked about cybersecurity and technology, and I think that just seems so obvious and so exciting, but there's got to be something else, right?
Well, I have to start with the obvious. I'm also a professor at the School of Government, and therefore the obvious is train for the future leaders to understand what the globe is all about and to understand realistically what we are dealing with. As a geopolitical analyst, the rule number one when we are doing analysis is to look beyond the person that is leading and understand the forces that are shaping his decisions. And basically, that is a tough job. But the person who is leading also needs to do that. So the challenge of today is basically understanding the both sides, is coming together in a dialogue that understands what we on the European side, what we in Romania, what we in the region, in the Black Sea region, are doing, and at the same time, us trying to understand better what the Americans are doing. And I think that is key. The understanding between the two shores of the Atlantic is key and is the foundation to work on. Now, because you are asking for solutions, that's a long-term solution. Now, tangibles. Tangibles are more short-term and medium-term. Now, we are at a point where I said the destructuring is offering opportunities. And it's, you know, usually when you are hearing the word destructuring, you are hearing pessimism in the world of today, right? Because no one really expects good things of destructuring. Now, I believe that there is room for improvement because we must improve. What we are seeing right now is through Russian aggression, Russia building up corridors that are competing with us and are threatening us. The North-South corridor, the network that is being built between Russia, China, and Iran, which has a name of itself, KRINKS, which kind of it's kind of funny when you think about it, crinks. But at the same time, it is threatening what we've put together in values, in thought, in economic cooperation under the Transatlantic Alliance. So with that in mind, I believe that a tangible is basically making certain that we grow strong, making certain that we build in Romania on the platform of the Black Sea security elements, we build cooperation with nations that are not currently members of our family, but that will come towards, as they have come during the Cold War, they have come towards the idea of prosperous life. And that's another key element. Now, energy is the obvious element, the short term to medium term, that Romania has showed that it can deliver, it could deliver. Now, obviously, on the short term and medium term is what is Russia doing next. And from the news of today, I have here noted down that it has massed 100,000 troops in Pokrovsk. And during the weekend, we have witnessed the most alarming attack of missiles and drones. So yes, we are under threat in the Black Sea area, and we are currently in a war with Russia. Now, the project that Romania is putting together is also facing risk, and that is a tangible that is facing risk. The other thing is defense cooperation, what we could do in order to transfer what we committed to do in Hague, to transfer that in capabilities, to transfer that in working together in cooperation, coordination. And that's key because that also involves political understanding and economic cooperation, which has to be key also with the US, not only in the EU. Now, I have good news, and I will finish with that. After the NATO summit, there is also an economic element that has come to life. The EU and the US basically said, we are ending the capital regulations that have been on since 2008. And that means that there is hope for more, let's say, cheaper credit for good projects. So I'm optimistic.
I love that note. Catalina, could we go to you on the question of how the Atlantic Council Romania office can deliver and help deliver on some of these opportunities, the ones you've mentioned, the ones that your panelists mentioned as well?
So if we are looking at the region, especially at Romania, I think on one side we are in a paradox. On one side we have a lot of competencies, we have a lot of extreme good knowledge on technology and many other areas. Still, we have a big gap in what we are facing in digitalization and how we embed that in economy. So I think through collaboration we can learn and we can move things faster from many strategies, for many ideas, for great wishes and a lot of optimism. I think we are at the moment that we shall implement fast things, and this is a challenge we have, and it's an opportunity to learn from all the other countries how they did it and to eventually do it together.
Thank you so much. Ambassador, from your extensive expertise, and you have been traveling to the region in so many different hats and many capacities, lessons learned on what's helpful engagement, what's impactful engagement, and how do we really focus on that type of cooperation with our allies?
The Americans can learn from this part of Europe. In and immediately after 1989, we thought it was our job to help instruct the new democracies. I get it. That was then, this is now. The countries like Romania, Estonia, Poland have gone through in one generation what it took the West European countries 3 generations. That is a pace of social, economic, and technological change that is very rapid, which means that the younger generation in these countries is used to a rapid pace of change and apt to grab hold of the new technologies in a creative way, because their whole lives they've lived their whole lives under periods of rapid evolution. Now, in parallel to that, we all need to deal with the social, economic, and political problems that have led to the rise of what's called populism or nationalism. And it's basically the sense in all of our countries that some people have gotten ahead and other people have been left behind, and the system doesn't work as it should. We're all part of the same political civilization, and you can tell because we have the same kinds of political problems, which means we can learn from each other. And one of the tasks of this office is not just to follow the agenda we're starting out with. Seems to me the right agenda, sure. But that agenda is written in pencil. And that's written in a way that can be added to as things develop. And we need to use this office as a way to develop a dialogue and learn from each other. And the Romanian example, especially I suspect in the rise of small, innovative, high-tech, sophisticated companies, is going to be useful, and we're going to find a lot of partners.
Thank you, Ambassador. Antonia, ideas for the office.
Ideas for the office. Well, be a platform of learning. That's the obvious takeaway from my earlier speech. Be a platform for the region, which I think is put in pencil, but I would like highlighted on the agenda, because I believe that populism is not the only threat. Because populism is in many ways something that is home-bred, home-grown. It is related to who we are and how we are dissatisfied with the political elite. In this area of the world, in the Balkans, in Eastern Europe, in Central and Eastern Europe, we are dealing with Russia influencers. We are dealing with the Chinese influencers. We are dealing with hard strategic decisions that have to do with the situation in the Middle East, that have to do with the situation in the Arctic. And that basically puts amazing pressure on our understanding in the region of what has to be done in order to make it right for the transatlantic alliance. And that's why the learning from one another is more complex. And I'm fully in agreement, I don't even have to stress this, that yes, the US also needs to learn, as the US is looking for establishing its global role in the new world, in the transformative world, I may say, because we are dealing with challenges and influencers also in the US. The US needs to learn what's going on in the geopolitical nodes, and one of them is the Black Sea node, which is now open. It is on fire. It is connected to the other very important geopolitical node, which is the South China Sea node. And everything that happens in the Black Sea, and I'm paraphrasing an ambassador in Washington, I think the Bulgarian ambassador in Washington, does not stay in the Black Sea. Therefore, this is the right time for you to come here. Just more arguments to go with that. But this is also a very complex and challenging time for you to come here and for us to work together, I think.
Thank you so much for the final lightning round, 30 seconds each. We'll just end on, to all the naysayers, to all of the voices who are saying, look, really look inward now. The transatlantic relationship is at a really difficult time. Let's look inward. Let's really not take a pause from talking to each other, from engaging, from doing things together, because there's too much risk, there's too much uncertainty. Let's not. What do you say to those naysayers for the last 30 seconds, final round? Ambassador, I'll start with you.
You may not be interested in aggression, but aggression can be interested in you.
Love that.
So being quiet in a conflict is not stopping the conflict, it's just putting fire on it. So therefore we need to talk to solve things between us and to solve things as much as we can with the others.
Thank you so much, Antonia.
Being alone is not a solution. It's just a sad fact.
I love all of these short, snappy, final thoughts. Please join me in thanking this fantastic panel for this conversation. And I will hand this over back to Alex to keep us on track with the agenda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Olga, and thank you to all of our speakers for the inspiring remarks and for the valuable insights. I encourage everyone to enjoy the reception, the good food, the delicious wine, and even better company. This is a special moment when big ideas are taking shape and meaningful partnerships are being forged. Let's celebrate being part of this exciting beginning. Cheers and good luck to the Atlantic Council Romania office. Thank you.